This is a story. The story has an author. The story's going somewhere. And you matter within that story. You may not be the main character. Does that unsettle you? Does that seem off-putting? Or is it actually exactly what you needed to know, what you needed to hear? It's just true. This story has been underway for some time now. And this story has, well, the deepest roots of any story there could possibly have been. It's the story that encompasses all the other stories. Every story you've ever heard exists within the arc of this story. And this story answers our big, giant, colossal, all-eclipsing, ever so important, existentially vital questions. It's a story. I can think of no more beautiful way to answer these epic questions than with a story. I don't just want to ask like big, vague questions. In our time together, I want to actually provide you with some beautiful, meaningful answers. Have you ever coveted what your neighbor has? Looked at their nice hot tub on the back deck and been like, oh man, that must be nice. Well, Christians have a hot tub, to say the least. I mean, that's got to be the understatement of all the millennia. We have big, giant answers to these big, giant questions. We didn't come up with them. We didn't write them. These answers come from the author of the story. Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. That's how it all starts. For the Christian, that's how knowledge begins. I mean, that's how the Christian is able to have answers to these questions like, okay, where does even a single atom come into existence out of nowhere? God created. I mean, Christians have an answer to the question, where did life come from? Like, how does it exist, not only in a singular cell, but within this vast ecosystem where all these life forms interact with each other and they've been so sustainable? How does that happen? How does that come to pass? Well, the Christian has an answer. It's because God created the species. He created life itself. And he even created you and I as humans in our unique role with our capacity for speech among, the animals of the animal kingdom within a distinct role that we all know that we have. We all see the unique place that humanity holds within the animal kingdom. Obviously, we have dominion over it. That's just by default. We understand it and we see it, and it's just patently observed. Well, Christianity tells us how that happened. Moreover, the Christian has an answer to the question, what happens when we die? And the Christian didn't come up with these answers on his own. It all begins with a fear of the Lord. Now, that word fear, I know it's off-putting, but it's important. It's important. I know that it can be unsettling and odd to think about fearing God, because you'd probably have a preference here. You'd probably rather have a God that you're not afraid of, but then he wouldn't be God. He wouldn't be eternal, omnipotent. He wouldn't be able then to create all the hundreds, billions of galaxies that exist, in which case he would be of no help in answering these big epic questions, right? He would have no authority by which to say this is right and this is wrong. I mean, if he's not worthy of our awe and respect, our fear in the true sense of Proverbs 1:7, then we're not talking about God anymore. We're talking about some puny figment. We're talking about some manageable construct And when we talk about such a small version of the lowercase g God, well, then we really are the gods, right? But then we're right back where we started. But the fear of the Lord, not as you and I define him, but as he has defined himself, as he has revealed himself within the story which he began, which he will end, over which he is the author, and into which he stepped himself. That sounds like a beautiful source of truth. It is the Bible. The Bible is the epic story, and its beginning is literally titled The Beginning. The first book is titled Genesis. It begins at the very beginning, and it ends with a pretty amazing ending. And you're between the beginning and the ending of that story. Try that on for size for a moment, because it's pretty cool. It means that life is quite meaningful, that it has a beginning, that it's going somewhere, that it didn't just begin arbitrarily or accidentally, that there is morality, there is right, there is wrong, that someone is in control. Try it on for size.